I say, ooh, welcome to the BBW show, you feel me? We talk battle rap, basketball, and wrestling. And the topic today is wrestling. More importantly, this is the first ever BBW show year-end predictions, you feel me? Now, I'm going to make predictions, 22 predictions for wrestling in 2022. Now, next year, we're going to come back and see which ones I got right and which ones I got wrong. Then we're going to make 23 predictions for wrestling in 2023. You feel me? Let's get into it. Number one, something I think is going to happen in wrestling this year. At WrestleMania, we either going to get Edge versus Kevin Owens or Kevin Owens versus Brock. You feel me? This is something I feel like with Kevin Owens re-signing, he had to get something in the deal besides the money. You feel me? So him versus Edge at WrestleMania or him getting a Brock match at Mania. I could see either one of those happening. Speaking of WrestleMania, I predict Roman Reigns will not lose at WrestleMania. Remember I said it, he will not lose. Roman Reigns will still be Universal Champion after WrestleMania this year. I also have the bloodline turning face. You feel me? The entire bloodline. Roman Reigns and the Usos. I think they're going to turn face this year. Why? Because there's not no heels that can go up against them. So why don't you just, instead of looking for wild heels or looking for baby faces to go up against them, why don't you just find some heels to go up against them and make them the baby faces? They're already getting great reactions. I predict that we're going to get the original Undisputed Era with Cole, Cole, Fish, and Adam Cole. I predict we're going to get the OG era back in AEW. I predict a top star is going to leave AEW for WWE. Either Chris Jericho or Christian Cage. But one of them is leaving AEW this year. That's my prediction. I also think Johnny Gargano is going to re-sign with WWE. His wife is already re-signed. He loves NXT. He loves being with Shawn Michaels. He loves it. You feel me? So I think Johnny re-signs. WWE is going to either fire Bruce Pritchard or Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis. I feel like with Nick Khan and these, what does he call them? Budget cuts. With these budget cuts, I feel like it's going to be either Bruce Pritchard or Johnny Laurinaitis. Because they're the bad guys in this. You feel me? They just get, you got to fire him. So they just do it. They just doing the dirty work. They're not really bad people, I feel like. Also, I think New Japan is going to get back strong. And what do I mean by that? I feel like this year, for the last 2 years, New Japan has hurted the most from the COVID era. I'm not going to lie. They hurted the most. I feel like this year, some people are saying Impact Wrestling was bigger than New Japan. That's nuts. I predict this year New Japan is going to take back their third spot in the wrestling war. For next year, I should say. No more WWE cuts. This is a hope more than a prediction. But I hope WWE doesn't release no more talent next year. Unless there's a reason for. But these massive cuts that they've been doing, this shit is just, it turns fans off. I ain't gonna hold you. This shit is so unenjoyable as a wrestling fan. So I think that's gonna happen. The Briscoes, Mark and Jay Briscoe, I think they signed with AEW. Not just for a few days either. I think we're gonna get the Briscoes are all elite sign. You feel me? That's how you know when you sign full time. When we get that. I also predict this year we're gonna get Roman Reigns versus Ricochet. It might be for the title, it might not, but I believe in a one-on-one match this year, we are going to have Roman Reigns versus Ricochet. Ricochet is one of the only few baby faces on the SmackDown roster. They have to do the match, you feel me? I predict this year, Flair beats Flair. So Charlotte Flair will beat Ric Flair's record and hold 17 world titles. I believe Charlotte Flair will win the women's title 4 times this year in 2022. I predict Cody Rhodes will also win the AEW world title. I predict that. I predict he's going to go back on his word and win the world title this year. I predict that Kenny Omega is going to come back to AEW this year, but as a babyface. I feel like we're going to get back. Babyface Kenny Omega's coming back. I ain't going to lie. I feel like we're going to get that. I feel like Big E is going to lose either at Mania or before Mania. One of those two. Big E will not leave WrestleMania as WWE champion. Mark my words. I promise you. Either he's gonna lose before then, or he's gonna lose at Mania. Big E will not hold the belt from now until WrestleMania and walk out of WrestleMania WWE champion. I promise you. I also predict 2022 we get heel Finn Balor on the main roster. If you've seen NXT in 2019, 2020, Finn Balor was probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. He had great matches with everybody. But because it was on NXT and they was losing to AEW every week, nobody talked about it. But that was probably the best Finn Balor we've seen ever. Even better than his New Japan run. That second NXT Finn Balor, one of the best ever. Easily. I predict this year in AEW we get Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk. This is a match that they have not done. They haven't crossed each other's paths yet. In 2022, I think they're going to wrestle. That's my prediction. I predict that in New Japan, for the first time ever, Jay White will win the G1. He will. He's never won the G1. He's won everything else. He never won the New Japan Cup either. But I feel like the G1 is better. Because this year, he wasn't even in the G1. So I feel like next year, Jay White will win the G1. I feel like sometime in this year, 2022, we are going to get Becky Lynch versus Bayley for the Raw Women's title. Sometime this year. I don't know if it's WrestleMania. I don't know if it's after Mania, SummerSlam. At some point this year, we're going to get Becky Lynch versus Bayley. This was supposed to happen last year, but I guess WWE didn't want to do it. That's why we got the Bella Twins. Also, I predict no Ronda Rousey. We haven't seen Ronda Rousey in 2 years almost. I predict we're not going to see her this year either. So that's going to be 3 years, no Ronda Rousey. I also predict we get babyface Seth Rollins coming back. I do. I feel like 2021 was his best year as a heel. He's done everything he can do as a heel. He led a faction. He had the wild storyline with the Mysterios that went on forever. I feel like he might get a world title run. He might. I don't know yet. He might. But I feel like he's done everything he can do as a heel. I feel like before the year's over, we get babyface Seth Rollins. Now, those are only 21 predictions. I got one more, and that's safe for The Rock. I predict that this year we will see The Rock return to WWE in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's via satellite, whether it's a promo, some way or some fashion, I think we getting The Rock at this year's, in 2022. Now, that could lead up to next year Royal Rumble or WrestleMania with him and Roman Reigns. But I predict in 2022, The Rock will return to WWE television. Those are my predictions for the year. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll be back with more.